Hello. So today we're going to look at converting between degrees, decimal degrees to degrees, minutes, seconds, and from degrees, minutes, seconds back to decimal degrees. So to demonstrate this, what we're going to do is we're going to look at, starting off, I have 78.425 degrees, and that is equivalent to 78 degrees, 25 minutes, and 30 seconds. So recall that when we write degrees, minutes, seconds, we use a degree symbol for degrees. We use a apostrophe for minutes, and we use the quotations or double quotes sometimes it's called for seconds. So degrees, minutes, seconds. Also recall that a degree can be thought of kind of like an hour of the day, in which case then remember that 60 seconds equals 1 minute and 60 minutes equals 1 hour when you're talking about time. So in this case, 60 seconds would equal 1 minute still, and 60 minutes would equal 1 degree. So I'm going to write those up here just so that we can remember that. So 1 degree is going to equal 60 minutes. And we know that 1 minute is going to equal 60 seconds. So 1 minute is going to equal 60 seconds. So 1 degree equals 60 minutes, and 1 minute equals 60 seconds. So that's going to be important when you're converting between these two. Now we're going to start with going from decimal degrees to degrees, minutes, seconds. So we have 78.425 degrees. Let's see how we got 78 degrees, 25 minutes, and 30 seconds over here. Well, first and foremost, notice how this whole number is the same as the degrees here. Because remember, minutes and seconds are going to tell us how much will be left over, or what fraction will be left over from the whole degrees. So it makes sense that our whole number part of our decimal degrees would also be our number of degrees. And that's actually how you start this off. So when you're doing decimal degrees to degrees, minutes, seconds, you first understand what's my whole number, and you make that your degrees. So step 1, whole number is degrees. Okay. So, well, what comes after that? What about the rest of it? Well, the rest of it will be what fraction of degrees you have left over. And that's the part we need to convert to minutes and then seconds. So, well, remember that there are 60 those minutes in just 1 degree. Well, we don't have a full 60. We have a fraction of that. Well, what fraction of it do we have? Or what proportion of it do we have? Or what percent of it do we have? So think of it in that terms, and that might make it easier for you to see that. All we're going to do is take the remaining part, the fractional part. So take fraction, or the remaining decimal, and we're going to multiply that times 60. And again, the reason we are multiplying it by 60 is because there's 60 minutes in 1 whole degree. So we're going to do 0.45, 425, and we're going to multiply that times 60. Okay, and let's see what we get when we do that. So 0.425 times 60, and we end up with 25.5. So we end up with 25.5. Okay, so this would be how many minutes we have. Right? So how many whole minutes do we have? We have 25 whole minutes. So similar to what we did over here, we took the whole number part and set that to be our degrees. We're going to take our whole number part and set that to be our minutes. Okay. Well, what about the 0.5 here at the end? That's the fraction of minutes that we have left. We have 0.5 minutes left. Well, we can convert that now into seconds, which is our next iteration, or our next part of our degrees, minutes, seconds. It's the smallest unit of it. So we're going to take this fractional part of minutes and convert it to seconds. Well, similar to what we did in step 2, we're going to multiply it by 60. Well, why is that? Oh, there's 60 seconds in 1 whole minute. So if there's 60 seconds in 1 whole minute, if we want to know how many seconds is 0.5 minutes, we need to multiply them. So we have 0.5 times 60, and in that case, we get 30 would be our seconds. And so the last thing is we bring it all together. So we got the 78 degrees because that's what we initially started with here. Then we go to our next part here. We have our 25 minutes because that was the whole number of the minutes that we found. And then lastly, we have 30 seconds because that is what we got when we took our fractional part from our minutes and multiplied by 60. We got 30. So in the end, we end up with 78 degrees, 25 minutes, and 30 seconds, which is exactly what we said we should have. Okay, so that's pretty simple. So again, going from the decimal degrees to degrees, minutes, seconds, we start off with what is our whole number? What is the total whole degrees that we have? We know we have 78 degrees. We definitely have that. Okay, so that's going to be our degrees here. Okay, what do we do with the remainder decimal, with the 0.425? Well, we're going to take that and we're going to multiply that by 60. Well, why is that? Conversion factor. This is 0.425 degrees, and we know that 1 degree is 60 minutes. So if we multiply by 60 minutes, the degrees will go away, and we'll have minutes. So 0.425 times 60 gives us 25.5 minutes. So 25.5 minutes, that's how many minutes we have. But how many of those are whole minutes? Only 25 of them. So that becomes our minutes. And now the fractional part, or the remaining decimal for the number of minutes, is going to have to convert to seconds. So we're going to take that number of seconds here, and we're going to take that number of seconds here, and we're going to multiply that by 60 in order to get our seconds. So another way I tend to tell people to think about this is, as I said, degrees will be similar to hours. Well, if I told you that you need to do something in 78.425 hours, you're not going to sit there and say, okay, it's been 78 hours and I'm about halfway there. That's probably what you would do, right? Well, you can get it down to the second, because if you're already working for 78 hours or something, you don't want to work any extra after that, right? You don't want to say, I'll just round up to 79 because you're not going to get paid for it. No, you're not going to do that. You're going to say, okay, well, if I'm working 78 hours and I have 0.425 hours left over, okay, how many minutes is that? Okay, how many seconds is that? And that's how long I'm going to work. Well, if you convert it 78.425 degrees into, or 78.425 hours into hours, minutes, and seconds, you will get 78 hours, 25 minutes, and 30 seconds. That's exactly what you will get. Okay, so that's going from decimal degrees to degrees, minutes, seconds. So let's go the other direction now. Right, so let's say we start off with our degrees, minutes, seconds, and we need to get back to decimal degrees. So I'm going to erase this here. And really what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be doing the inverse operation of this. All right, so here we go. So 78.425 is the number of degrees that we expect to get here. We're going to start off with 78 degrees, 25 minutes, and 30 seconds. So I know that this is 78 whole degrees. So I know that that's going to be my whole number in my answer over here. But instead of just skipping ahead to that, let's see what we start off with. If you think of it again as degrees being like hours, I want to know how many hours do I have when I have 78 hours, 25 minutes, and 30 seconds. I want that just to be in just hours. Well, first, I would start at the smaller end, the seconds, and convert it to minutes. Why would I do that? Because if I convert seconds to minutes, I'll know how many minutes I have. And if I know how many minutes I have, I know how many hours that is, and I can add it to the total hours I already have. Okay, so we're going to take that 30, and we're going to convert that into minutes. Well, 30 seconds is how many minutes? Many of you are like, oh, that's just half a minute. I already know that. That's great. Well, how do you know that? Remember, that's kind of what you want to get to. How do I know that so that I can start using that process for any number that's given there, and I don't have to think or guesstimate how much it's going to be. By the way, guesstimating is a good thing because you get a good number sense and you understand that, hey, this should be around half, so I should get something close to half, or exactly half in this case. But understanding that it will help you a lot whenever you're doing these problems or doing problems involving mathematics, because you're like, I know my answer should be close to this. So if I get something different, then I probably did something wrong, and that's called number sense. Okay, but we're converting 30 seconds into minutes. So how do you do that? Well, we know that we have 30 seconds, and I know that every second there are 60 seconds in 1 minute. So if I take my 30, and for those of you that have seen dimensional analysis before, this will look very familiar. So when I take that 30 seconds here, and I'll write it this way, how would I get my minutes? Well, I have my 1 minute is equal to 60 seconds. And I'm showing you this way just so you have another method for converting between the two. We could have done dimensional analysis going on from the other direction as well, and that would have also gotten us to the correct answer. But when I do this here, I can clearly see the seconds go away and my answer is in minutes now. So 30 divided by 60 would give us 0.5. So we got 0.5 minutes that we're now going to add to our 25. So if I take that, I get 25.5 total minutes that we have. And I'm now trying to change that to degrees. Well, I know there are 60 minutes in 1 degree. Well, that goes away. And when I divide those two numbers, I end up with 0.425. So in total, that would be 78.425 degrees. Okay. So going from degrees, minutes, seconds back to decimal degrees is essentially the same thing. We're just we're flipping or doing the reciprocal of our conversion factors. We're taking our seconds and we're going to convert that to minutes so that we can add it to our total minutes. We're going to take our new total minutes and we're going to convert that into degrees and add it to our total degrees. So in this case, we took 30 seconds, converted 30 seconds into minutes, and we got 0.5 minutes. So that 0.5 has to be added to our 25 minutes, so we get 25.5 minutes. Going from 25.5 minutes to degrees, we know that there is, for every 1 degree, there are 60 minutes. So we divided those two, and we end up with 0.425 degrees in total for this portion. So we take that plus the 78 that we know we definitely have. We have 78.425 degrees. And that is how you convert between decimal degrees and degrees, minutes, seconds. So the main thing to remember is that 1 degree has 60 minutes in it and 1 minute has 60 seconds. Similar to, again, degrees and hours, you can think of them as being synonymous in this category, especially with conversions. And that will probably make it a lot easier for you to do these conversions between these two. All right. Well, that is converting between those two units of measurements, and I will see you soon.